If you're doing creative work of any kind, then you've probably come across a few creative blocks in your life. There are a few techniques and exercises to help your creativity get into a flow. In this video, we're gonna cover 3 of those exercises from this book, The Steal Like an Artist Journal by Austin Kleon, to help you spark that creativity and think in ways you wouldn't have thought otherwise. So check it out. Whether you're a writer, a musician or an artist, you'll definitely find something in this video. The first exercise is about writing and formulating and finding different ways of saying the same thing. The way it works is you choose your favorite quote. You're just gonna write it on a piece of paper. You write it down again in 5 different ways. And this way you really think about the message of the quote and not just the words. It can really help with getting your head around what was actually said and how to say it in a different way. And this way you really can see if you understand the quote that you chose. You're also gonna learn a little bit about your own brain and the way you see things. And maybe you see the world a little bit in a new light after you've done all 5 ways. The second creative exercise is one that I really liked and that I've already read about in Steal Like an Artist, the original book on which this journal is based upon. And it's called Climb Your Own Creative Family Tree. The way it works is that you start with a person that has really inspired you and influenced you. And this can be any person that you want. You start with that person and then you look for 3 people that have influenced him or her. You do that 2 times. So once you have this first level of inspiration, you go on to the second level, and this way you end up with 12 new people that you can learn a lot about. You can follow their work or read a lot about them, study their art, study their music or whatever it is that you chose. You don't even have to stop at the 2 levels. You can go as far back as you want, and that's something really cool. So you could I haven't tried it, but you could probably fill your whole wall with that kind of creative family tree, which I think is kind of interesting and gives you just so much inspiration to pull from and so much stuff to learn. And the cool thing is nowadays it's super easy to find out the influences of your influences. It's just a quick Google search. You can find that information in interviews, especially with writers. They often talk about the books that they have read in their own books, at least with non-fiction. Just look through that creative family tree and you'll find some inspiration. Just pick one of the artists, look a little bit at their work, at their lives, and once you're done with that, you can take an hour of your time and you'll hopefully end up with something you've learned and something to implement in your own work maybe. The third exercise was actually also really fun and for me something completely new. The way this one works is that you choose one of your favorite lines of a book and you put it in the middle of the page. Now you write 2 sentences that lead to it and 2 sentences that follow it. That alone can take a little bit of time, depending on how serious you want to be here. But after that, you've done that, you cross the middle sentence out. And if you've done your job well, you've come up with something new and original. That is based upon that one idea of another person, but that's how creativity works essentially. So definitely try that out. And it doesn't only work for writers, but this can work for artists as well. Another exercise in the book is that you draw something, but your drawing has to be made up of drawings of other people. So you look at other people's drawings and get inspiration from that, and this way you put it all into your own piece and eventually come up with something completely original, which is a fun exercise. I haven't done it myself, but I'm definitely gonna come to it as I'm working my way through the book. But this isn't only for artists and writers. This can also be a way for a musician to get new inspiration, because as a guitarist or somewhat guitarist myself, I often find myself playing the same old stuff. But by taking or learning things from other artists, you can really develop your own playing. A perfect example for that, and a super wholesome video, is this video by Mary Spender, who's a music and guitar YouTuber. She took an unpublished John Mayer song where bits and pieces were spread throughout Instagram for promotion. She wrote the rest of the song, which was super interesting, and definitely check out that video if you're interested in that creative process. And she came up with her own lyrics, her own verses, I think, and John Mayer even answered her at the end of the video, I think. So definitely check it out, it's super cool, and that just shows how working with the things that other people have given you can lead to this super creative workflow. What's hardest most of the time with the creative process is getting that first sentence down, or the first line on the paper, the first note, whatever. And if you take that pressure away from you, it can become way easier to start the creative process. And at the end, you can take the unoriginal stuff out, maybe a little bit harder with music, but with writing and drawing, you can definitely find ways to do that. To end the video, I have 2 quick bonus tips, and the first one is to write the things down that come to your head. And sometimes we have the weirdest ideas at the weirdest places, and if we don't write them down, they're gonna be lost for eternity. So make sure to always have enough paper and pens at your home so you can write it down immediately. If you're on the go, definitely write it down, or even take a notebook with you. The author of this book is actually advising you to always take this book with you and always have a pen so you can jot down your notes anytime. And what I think is very important with these creative exercises is that they are most effective if they're done in an analog way. So don't type the things out on your computer, but actually take the time to write it down on a piece of paper, because it will be a much more creative process, and you'll have more senses committed to the task at hand. And the great thing with doing things physically is that you cannot erase your mistakes as easily as you can on a computer. For me, in this example, it was actually super funny because I crossed out a word. So when I was thinking about the things that I wanted to write down, I added a few lines, which ended up being a small bird, which was very funny for me, and just fitted this whole creativity thing perfectly. So definitely do the things physically, it will benefit you for sure. Alright, so those were my 3 exercises, plus my 2 bonus tips on creativity, but sometimes creativity isn't even the problem. If productivity is your problem, then definitely check out my video on Ali Abdaal's book Feel Good Productivity, which is also a very good book. And then we'll see each other hopefully in my next video. Bye, have a good day.